JJ for about 3 years. Did you know instantly, Wade, that it was a practice and you went, oh, Lord, he's great? Or did he develop into great?
It was pretty quick. Everybody knew he was he was good, but when we drafted him, they booed him, because they didn't know who he was, because we took him in the first round. And then some people were saying he was a bust, or might be a bust. And after a few games, they asked me about it, and I said, "Hey, he's going to be a bust, all right, but it's going to be a bust in the Hall of Fame." Yeah, at the end of his first season, he was so tremendous. In fact, he had an interception, like you saw on the screen there, in the playoff game against Cincinnati that won the game for a touchdown. So he's a great player.
Now, not all great players are great leaders or locker room guys. What will he bring to Arizona beyond just plays?
Oh, he's a tremendous person. He's got a tremendous drive to be not only be successful himself, but he holds everybody to the high standard, and the highest of standards, really, as far as work and not just athletic skills, but his work. And don't leave DeMarcus Ware out of that group either. So I don't want to slide him either.
He was pretty good.
Quite a few more that are in the Hall of Fame that I've coached too. So
yeah,
I was lucky to be around a lot of great players.
Now, you were with the Rams, and they have moved off Goff, and they have Matt Stafford, and you face Sean McVay's offense every day at practice. And you face Matt Stafford for years. How do you think Stafford fits into McVay's system?
Well, I think he'll fit really well. I did some film or video work on him this season, and he still is a tremendous quarterback, in my opinion. So we looked at him quite a bit, and the people I was around that study it still think he's still an elite type quarterback. So he's going to do real well.
McVay's offense, is it complicated, Wade? Is it hard to pick up?
Yes,
it is
very much so. Yeah. So, but they've got a passing game coordinator there now that I think is going to make it really easy for the transition to a new quarterback.
Yeah,
I think his name is Wes Phillips. Yeah, I think he's a real good one.
All right, there you go. So, Deshaun, you're in Houston, and Deshaun Watson, it's gotten to a point where, like, he just said, I'm not going to wear that uniform again. And, we've had this discussion. We've gone back and forth, and we've said when you've got a star player and he wants out, you'd rather trade him before it goes public, so not the whole league knows, and you may get a better deal. Once it goes public, and everybody knows a guy wants out, you could lose leverage. My takeaway on this, Wade, has been, listen, the longer you wait, if you wait through free agency, 3 or 4 teams may get a quarterback. And then the list of teams that need a quarterback small, you may not get as many picks back. What would you do if you ran the Houston Texans today with Deshaun?
Yeah, you're right on that analysis, but he's such a good player. It's hard to believe they'd lose too much, and as far as waiting a little bit. But I think you have to trade him before the draft, obviously, to get those high draft picks. So, I just feel bad for a new head coach going in, and J.J. Watt leaves, and the quarterback comes in, and you talk to him, and he says, I'm not coming. I'm not playing for you. So it's a really tough situation there, I think.
Well, and also there's a culture issue. The players view the culture with the Texans and Cal McNair as a problem, Wade. Whether that's fair or not, that's how the players view it, that there's a cultural problem. Take us through that. Do you sense it living in Houston? What do you hear? What do you read?
Yeah, and, speaking of the Rams, I mean, that's one great thing that I think Sean McVay, I know he gets a lot of credit for what he does offensively, but culture-wise, he's done a great job there of bringing in a winning culture with a team that hadn't won at all in a long, long time.
Yeah.
So it is important. In fact, Sean is kind of John Woodenish. I mean, he he does a great job with that. So you can see the culture really makes a difference in a team. I talked to JJ a little bit, but I don't know what went on behind the scenes and so forth here. But yeah, everybody wanting to get out and sometimes it's the organization, what direction they're going, whether they're trying to rebuild or whether they're trying to win a championship the next year. So you don't know all those things.
Well, it's interesting. You coached Cowboys, Broncos, Bills. Right now, the Bills are rolling. You got a good owner, a good GM, and a good coach. Broncos have some talent, but they don't have the quarterback quite right yet. Dallas, listen, it's a huge brand. Dak's a franchise quarterback. He probably wants a little more than they want to pay. When you were with Jerry, the Jerry you see today, is that the Jerry you had? Or do you think he is a little less of a meddler and he's giving more responsibility up? Or when you were with Jerry, Jimmy Johnson obviously had his issues with him, and him, I thought, always got along. Is Jerry changing, or is Jerry today from when you were there?
I think he's pretty much the same. I mean, it's such a different, situation and that the owner is a general manager. So he's been the general manager the whole time. So I think that's the different part of it. The good part of it is you deal with the owner every day, not just you don't have to go through the general manager to get to the owner to try to get things done. So some ways it's good.
Are you surprised Dak hasn't signed already?
I never know on those things. I mean, agents and teams and negotiations, I just try to, as a coach, I did even when I was more the vice president of football operations, I still tried to stay out of the negotiations and not worry about it all the time. Because you worry about it all the time, it's going to be a worrisome deal, and that's somebody else's job to worry.
Wade, you've been a defensive coordinator for so long in the NFL, and I look at some of the rules and how they're changing now. And, when you started in the league, if a quarterback ran, it was almost a criticism that he's going to get hurt. You got to stay disciplined in the pocket. And now I look at pocket guys and I think, oh, boy, I hope he can move a little bit. I can move the pocket. What did you find in the last 7-8 years of your career being a defensive coordinator? Was it harder to be a coordinator because the athlete's now playing the quarterback? The rules now are very much leaning toward offense, Wade. Did you find it harder to be a defensive coach your last 7-8 years in the NFL?
Well, I think it always has been. Rules-wise, certainly they're always pointing that way, but I think it's been that way for a long time. People want to see the offense and people scoring points, so they've got to at least go that direction as much as they can.
Yeah.
Now, you talk about quarterbacks getting hurt. I mean, Dak ran a quarterback draw. He got hurt. Lamar Jackson got hurt in the playoffs. I mean, I still think they can get hurt, and especially, and even Cam, I think it hurt his career getting injuries. He was at the MVP level. So it's still dangerous, I think, for your quarterback to run very much.
Who was the best quarterback you ever faced that gave you the most trouble, that you struggled to figure out a blueprint to stop?
Let's see. Not Otto Graham. He was really good. But it's hard to pick one. I mean, I played against all the great ones or coached against all the great ones. So it's hard to pick one. I know we played a playoff game in Buffalo and we played Marino, and he threw it 66 times. And, that's a nightmare. I mean, to have one of those guys, now we beat them pretty good in the ball game, but still, that's scary to have a guy that can throw it like that, throw it that many times.
Wade Phillips, you look happy. You're in Houston. Hopefully you got through that awful 2-3 week stretch of weather where you just told me between the break it was 5 degrees in Houston, which I never thought I would see in my life, that Houston would be 5 degrees. So it's great. You look great and you look happy, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
You bet. I always enjoy it with you. You do a great job. You're the best.
Oh, thank you so much. Wade Phillips, who's been around a long time. Now, think about that.